Good, barely afternoon, fine internet people. It's that time once again. We're gonna write a song live on stream. Well, I'm gonna write a song live on stream, and you're gonna watch me. So once again, I'd like to apologize for the minor flip-flop I went through. I didn't really. That was just me forgetting how time zones work more than anything. Just had no idea what was going on and paid the price for it. Made people confused. But everything's sorted now, so we're gonna write a song on stream. A sad song on stream. Real sad, if assuming I do it right. So why am I writing a sad song? Well, main reason being the last couple of days were kind of rough for me. Went to some bad places, but that's the nice thing about being a musician. You have an outlet for that sort of shit. You can just fire up your DAW, just pour your guts out that way. Music speaks where words fail to. Yes, crying, exactly. That's the right idea, Zoptos. If we do it right, you will be fucking bawling your eyes out. As you are meant to do when it comes to a ballad. So, the first step we're going to take, as I've already mentioned, I generally prefer to start with the drums when it comes to music, but I think this time we're better off, I'm going to take a bit of a different approach this time. This time I'm going to start by writing a clean guitar part. And to that end, we're going to use a plugin that I haven't used on stream yet. And that would be, if it'll load, this right here. This is Ample Sounds PF, Peregrine Falcon. When it comes to commercial guitar samplers, these guys are essentially the first name. The first name most people think of. So, they have several guitars that are based around different genres. However, I chose this one as my first purchase of theirs, for the sole reason that this is based on a PRS guitar, a Paul Reed Smith. And those are essentially some of the most versatile guitars on the market. They can do jazz, they can do rock, they can do metal, they can do basically anything. Assuming you set it up correctly. And that's the main faltering point of this particular plugin. This was not designed for metal, and you can hear it if you try to experiment with it that way. This was very clearly set up to be more of a hard rock, jazz sort of guitar, not really necessarily designed for metal. I mean, you can shoehorn it into that niche, but it's just not going to get you quite the results you want. But that's fine by me. That's what Metal GTX is for. However, where this shines is in its clean tones. Its clean tones sound absolutely fantastic, which is precisely what we're going to use it for today. And to that effect, let us venture into the riff. This is the reason you would want to plunk down the 150 or so on this plugin as opposed to sticking to any of the free guitar plugins. The songwriting tools. This is where these plugins absolutely shine. They have fantastic songwriting capabilities. Give me a second. So, while Metal GTX sounds fantastic, you're generally left to your own devices when it comes to actually writing a song. Which is fair, it's fine. It has other advantages, but eventually, especially if you're just starting out, it's going to leave you wanting. But that's fine and dandy. This is what this particular plugin is for. So, to that effect, let's actually... Before we do anything else, let's set up BPM. 120 is generally the standard, but that's a little too fast for a ballad. The whole point of a ballad is you play slow, emotional. So to that effect, we're going to dip down to 80 beats per minute. Maybe we'll speed it up to 85, we might need to slow it down even further. That remains to be seen. And next up, this is a little default demonstration type of song that they wrote, just to give you an idea of what it might sound like. However, this is a lead part, which is not what we're after. Not at this juncture, anyways. So, we're going to go ahead and, first of all, we're going to clear everything. We're going to change the subdivision. 4/4 triplet, not what we want. We're going to go back to 4/4. 30-second notes, definitely not what we want. Again, ballad, slow. 30-second notes are fast as fuck. So, let us switch to 8th notes. So, the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to use this function called the riff dice. Well, actually, no, there's one other thing I want to do first. So, the guitar is currently in standard tuning, but that's not what I want. I want to tune it down. So, we're going to take this, it's at E, we'll bring it down to E flat. That's my preferred tuning for everything. Generally, take a tuning, I will probably want to bring it down a half step. Just because I generally tend to think that sounds better. Personal preference, completely. So, just take them all, tune them down, -1. Perfect. There we go. So, we're going to open the riff dice. So, they have two general patterns when it comes to writing riffs. 2 arpeggio patterns, 2 strumming patterns. This tool, I believe, selects the velocity variation range. Yeah, we'll leave it at 20. And we'll decide the key. I do not want it at A. I want it at A sharp. And finally, we'll decide what chord it is, and we're going to go with minor, obviously. Not trying to reinvent the wheel here. So, yeah, if you're going too fast, you can just ask me to stop and explain anything, because, again, these are not meant to be tutorials as such. This is a songwriting stream, but if you want me to explain something, I'm more than happy to. So, with all these factors decided, let's go ahead and actually roll the dice a bit. Let's hear how this sounds. You get the idea. So there's a function I forgot about. This goes for an entire 8 bars. That's not what I want. We'll go with 4. And second of all, that sounded a bit off, because, of course, they meant A sharp in standard tuning, which would be a step up. That would be B. So, we'll change it to B, because I'm after a B flat chord, as I mentioned before. So, let's roll the dice again. Let's hear how it sounds. That's closer to what I want, but I'm not really feeling that pattern. We'll roll the dice again. So that sounds more or less perfectly what I'm after. I'm after a fucking tearjerker. It has to be absolutely despair-inducing. So, those of you who've seen Spinal Tap, you may have heard the joke, D minor is the saddest of all keys. Nuh-uh. Anybody who says that hasn't listened to a song in B-flat minor. If you ask me, if you want to make people cry, that's the song, that's the key you want to use. So, yeah, bottom line, I like this riff. That said, I want to alter it a bit. So, the idea I'm going for is, I want a descending bass note sort of pattern. That is, we take the lowest note that you hear, and we're going to lower it as the riff goes on. So to that effect, we're going to select these two notes, and we're going to bring them down a bit. Let's go back to the beginning and hear how that sounds. Absolutely perfect, so we'll just go ahead and keep going even lower. So, however, this is something you gotta watch out for. As you can see, we hit the open note of the string, so you cannot go any lower. So, to continue the riff as it is, we're going to have to move down to the next string. So, we're going to take this, and we're going to add a couple of notes. We're going to select both of these, bring them up to the note I want, which is, in this case, F sharp. But we gotta watch out, we gotta make sure to delete these, otherwise it'll play them both in the riff, and we do not want that. So we just hit delete, and there they go. Now once again, we're going to check how we're doing so far. Pardon me, little hiccup there, sorry, let's try that again. Gotta love tech hiccups. Alright, try it again. First three measures are perfect. So, final order of business, we're going to go as low as we can go on this particular guitar tuning. we're going to go all the way down to the open E flat. And finally, to end us off, we're going to play an F. So, let's hear how that entire part sounds all together. Almost perfect. One last thing I want to do. Well, actually, a couple more things I want to do. The notes I'm about to select need to have their velocities changed, because I'm trying to place a little more emphasis on them. So, this right here is the velocity, 80. I want to bring it up to 100. There we go. And this note too, because this is our tell, the riff is over. So, one last time, all together. Actually, I'm going to do a couple more, largely the same thing. We're almost done here, just minor alterations left to do. And I don't think I'm going to bother with a final playthrough, at least this time, because I bring in this feature, which is you can take the finished riff you made and drag it into the host. If I can find it, there it is. So, these here are the guitar string key switches. You know, it'd actually be smarter if, let's do this instead. I'll open this, and if I load up the ample guitar library, see, string changes. But as you can see, that's simply not a thing with Metal ZTX. So we're going to highlight every single one of these. Make sure we don't miss any. That would make us look pretty silly. And we're going to delete all of them. And we're also, normally I would also put in a key switch at the beginning, but I don't particularly feel the need to do that. So, we're going to mute this track and hear how it sounds with Metal ZTX. This is a direct input for the moment. We'll do again. We'll come up with a single chain in a moment. Let's hear how it sounds just as a DI. Like complete shit. So apparently I do have to, okay. First of all, I gotta turn off loop item source so that it doesn't just loop it all over again. Here's our little problem child here. This activates a slide up, which we do not want. We want to bring it down to sustain down. So We'll bring it here. Now let's hear how it sounds. Velocities sound rather off, unfortunately, so... Let's see. We'll find an action. There's an action for this. Set selected notes velocity to 100. Let's just standardize this for the moment. Just because going that variant just didn't sound quite right. So let's hear how it sounds now. Sounds about right to me. So, now that we have this, we'll make this the rough theme of our song. Yes, I agree, Mario. It does sound very good. Good to see you, by the way. So, now that we have the parts settled, let's go ahead and put in a signal chain. So, obviously we're going to start with the amp sim, and there's a lot of directions we can go in. I think this time I'll introduce you guys to what I consider to be my main amp sim. It is not free, unfortunately. It's a commercial product, but it's a commercial product that I particularly like, and I think would be worth buying, especially if it's on sale, like I got it. And that plugin is... Give it a second to load. The Membrini Audio BST 100. So, this is a simulation of an amp called the Soldano SLO 100. That's not a name you hear very often when it comes to amps, but it's professionals absolutely love it. There are a lot of big names that happen to like this amp sim, none of which I can mention off the top of my head because I am probably not in the right space of mind. But just trust me, it's really good. So, we're not going to put a bunch of effort into dialing in a tone. We're just going to give it a basic clean boost, basic clean tone. So, this is the amp sim view, so we're going to move over to the cabinet simulation view. This looks rather complex, especially compared to NatIR, which you may remember from both my debut and previous songwriting streams. But it's really not that hard. So, plus again, everything's conveniently labeled, so shouldn't take that much brain power to process what's going on here. So, the default cabinet is 4x12, but you generally do not want that for clean tones. Clean tones are generally supposed to sound very high-end heavy, very almost thin. Whereas 4x12s generally give you low-end, which is desirable for high-gain tones, but not so much for cleans. So we're going to switch to a 2x12, this one right here. We're going to mute the secondary mic, I don't want that. All I want is this, the 57. So let's hear how it sounds now with proper amp and cabinet simulation. Okay, so that's almost the tone I want. But there's one more little trick on my sleeve. And that is adding a little effect called chorus. And we're going to use this one, Chorus WS1 by Mercurial, who make a lot of free guitar plugins that are very good. Nakarine, I'm very pleased to see you. And yes, it does sound very good. This is precisely what I wanted. Because again, ballad. Sad Boi Hours, just like it says in the title. So, as I was saying, chorus. The general effect this has is it's supposed to sound effectively like you recorded the same thing several times over. As in a chorus of guitars. Much like a chorus of voices is a bunch of people singing the same stuff at the same time. But rather than recording, 50 takes of the same thing, you can just slap on this pedal and it'll sound roughly the same. So, we're going to let the track play a bit, and I'm gonna just play with the knobs. Just wait until I find a setting I particularly like. And that already sounds more or less how I want. But you know what? I think we can bring it a little even more over the edge. And to that effect, I think we're going to add some reverb. And for that, we're going to use Reverb, the built-in impulse response loader. So, as you may have noticed, Lapis, Carmine, good to see you too. I'm glad we're on the right track here. Yeah, we've only just started and already this sounds very close to what I want. But again, we can do even better. So to that effect, we're going to add what's called an impulse response. Similar to how impulse responses, we're going to be using this, reverb, compression, precisely. I might add compression at the beginning right before this, but also Lobster, good to see you. Okay, that's enough greetings. I think I'm going to add an impulse response. But just for the sake of safety, I'm going to hit the loading screen real quick, just to ensure that I'm at the right folder setting, so I don't show you things you're not meant to see. So give me a brief moment. Yes, indeed, Carmine, forbidden knowledge. Things mankind is not meant to know. As a cursed being, you should know all about that. Anyways, I've picked out my impulse. And for the first little experiment, we could be at this for quite some time, so we're going to pick the right impulse. So, I've decided to go with Air Windows impulses, which are available for free. I might end up putting it in the description, but if I don't, you can just look it up. And as a matter of fact, you should look up Air Windows anyways, because this is hardly their only product. The dude makes a lot of amazing free plugins. And reverb impulses, as you can see here. So, we're going to start with what's called Room Medium, and we're going to see if it sounds how I want. does, but it's loud as a motherfuck. So, let's see. We'll just turn on the volume on the track itself. So let's hear how it sounds at first. Yes, iterative. That's the name of the game with music. Also, hello, Ayu. Good to see you. Ayu. I'm sorry. I can't resist. At any rate, so I'm not really feeling that particular. Oh, that's fine. Me forgetting time zones is exactly why I went through that whole flip flop back on Twitter. Not to worry, Di. You're still early enough. And, yeah, Lobster, that's quite a trial by fire to put yourself, musically. I don't even have the competence to, confidence. Although competence also probably fits, I couldn't do that myself, let's put it that way. So, anyways, I'm not particularly feeling that impulse, but we'll stick to, this. We'll stick to this, rough impulse folder. So, let's try Outdoor Stadium. But first, set the loop. I don't know about the rest of you, but I think that sounds absolutely fine. That's precisely what I'm going for. Perfection. Alright. So that's our main clean riff out of the way, so... with that, I think it's time for us to... write a little drum part. Silent Hill, I can see that. I believe they do have certain, yeah, melancholic, exactly. A melancholy feel, because again, this is a sad ballad. That's exactly the feeling I'm going for. So, with that out of the way, let's copy and paste this little part over. And we're going to listen to some, we're going to pick out a drum part. Yeah, thank you, Neko. I'd like to say I have a, yep, Neko's the best. Yep, standing in the rain. Good to hear, good to hear. So, first let's just see if I pick the right drum patch. Sounds about right. But let's turn off this premixing just so it doesn't absolutely mog my computer while I pick out a song type part. No. Yeah, tension again. Tension is actually half the equation of writing a song. If you go to any music teacher will tell you, tension and release. That's precisely the sort of, that's sort of the main loop of music. Setting up tension and then releasing it. So this is all tension, so when we get to the chorus, that will most likely be our release. But we'll get there when we get there. So. Let's pick out a song part. And I think we're going to go ahead and, stick to basic rock, because, again, this is a ballad. We don't want anything too crazy with drums. let's see what this one's about first. Sounds workable to me. So we're going to go ahead and drag it in here. But we're also going to pick out some fills just to ensure that it's not just a straight shot. Because while I am after a basic, I want to be basic but not too basic, if that makes sense. Yeah, that sounds like a good fill to end the part on, so we'll drag it in, half the length. Perfection. So we'll put it in there. But I want something a little, slightly more low-key for the midway fill. So we'll just keep picking out from here. That's not low-key at all. Not what I'm looking for either. Yeah, I get the feeling this is going to be largely the same story, so fortunately I have the complementary library to this, Basic Rock Fills, where it has largely the same song, more fills that are meant to fit the same niche. So let's listen to a few of these and see if we can find anything a bit more fitting for the part. Okay, that's the closest to what I want, but I'm probably, again, only going to use the back half of it. Perfect. So. Unfortunately, I can't really do math at this point, so I think we're just going to have to play through and, 2, 3. Never mind. There we go. And, sorry, I got lost in thought there. Blob Opera, I don't believe I have heard of that. Although, by your description, it sounds like it'd be something fun to experiment with. I might try it out sometime in my downtime. Anyways, let's listen to how this drum part sounds. So, here we're actually going to visit this window intentionally. If you recall my last songwriting stream, then I kept hitting this by accident. This is edit playstyle, where, as mentioned, you can edit the playstyle. And specifically what I want to do is, I want an opening hit on that one, which is exactly how it sounds. One cymbal hit that is meant to open the part. However, I don't want this particular cymbal, I want to drag it this way. Perfect. However, I want it just a touch gentler than that. And much the same over here. I like the opening hit, but I want it to be a little softer. So let's hear how it sounds with my alterations. So, almost perfect except for the fact that I sort of overcorrected with the China. So we're going to... Yeah, close enough. Actually, both opening hits, I probably made it too soft. So, we'll call it a part there. And with that, we will go ahead and drag it into the workstation to see how it sounds with my chosen guitar part. But we gotta make sure to put it in the right place. Bring it over here. And I just realized I almost put it on the wrong track. That would have been exceedingly silly. This track is where we want to put it. There we go. Alright. So, let's hear how they sound together. So yeah, it doesn't sound bad. Could probably sound to be a bit softer, but again, I should probably have mentioned that this was supposed to be a metal ballad, as opposed to a ballad. Yes, also got me, I forget to mention important details. Yeah, just no particular excuse for that. Yep. Well... Metal ballad, what makes a metal ballad metal? Well, that'll be easier to answer when I get to the chorus. Because again, that's where we release the tension. And, that said, coming up with the chorus might be a bit of a challenge, so... But we'll get there when we get there. Before we get there, we're going to write a bass part. Pardon me. So to that effect, we're going to open our faithful easy bass. Right after we mute this track, because I don't want the grit quite yet. So first we're gonna see what they got for grooves. And they have a rock ballad. How convenient. Let's see how it sounds. Yes, easy bass is indeed a thing. T4 and 3. I'm still not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but good to see you anyways. Yes, easy bass. They only just released this last year, so it's more or less brand new. So I don't blame you for not knowing what it is. Ah, Tamer, good to see you too. So, that particular groove I could tell just wasn't going to work just by listening to it, so let's listen to a couple of the variations. Yeah, I'm not really, actually, I'm not ready to throw it out quite yet. Wow, that's a unique, that's quite the unique descriptor of that interface. I would never have, thought of that, oh, wow. Yeah, I don't really have anything more to say about that. That's, yeah. This is our friend Lobster, ladies and gentlemen. He's, quite the wordsmith. At any rate, maybe I was too hasty to judge this one. Yeah, not feeling that one. Let's check out these verses instead. Now that's more along the lines of what I want. So we're going to go ahead and drag it in. But as you might notice, this is not the chord progression I want. But fortunately, since I still have this up, I can take a look at what the chord progression is. So this was based on B flat, as we already established. So, well, really, this is just a bunch of slash chords on top of each other, if we're being honest. So, this was A sharp, so we're going to start by making this. Well, first of all, we're going to change the key. So, A flat minor. And we're going to bring it all the way down. No, we're not. So, if we look here, 2 measures of B flat minor. Yes, indeed, slash chords are quite a bit of fun. That's why pretty much every metal ballad uses them. Although the funny thing is, they usually get used by complete accident by people who don't know what they're doing. Because, yeah, sort of elephant in the room. My main influence for this track is actually going to be Metallica. Say what you will, but they were a very formative band for me, and I still like them regardless of everything they've done. Not trying to start an argument, that's just how I feel about them. And again, if you listen to their ballads, that's basically the order of the day. A bunch of slash chords. But again, especially in their golden age, they had no idea. They didn't know their asses from their elbows as far as music theory was concerned. And yet they still wrote classic songs. So, yeah, these are all B flat chords, really. But, if we look at this part, the root note for this particular part was G sharp, which is A flat in this context. B flat over A flat. B flat over F sharp, which is G flat in this context. And this is already B flat, so if you recall the lead in, then we go from A E flat to F. So let's hear how this part sounds all together. So, with all that out of the way, now that that's written, let's go ahead and drag it into the workstation. And it's a perfect fit, even better. So let's hear how it all sounds together. We'll start with the guitar. We'll see how it all mixes together in a second. So yeah, I don't know about you, but that combination at least sounds pretty damn good. So, now, let's see how it all sounds as a full mix. So yeah, I don't know about the rest of you, but I think we're off to a damn good start here. And, Lobster, you would be 100% correct. I am, mainly a metalhead. As I mentioned in my debut. But you weren't there for that, so of course you wouldn't know that. Yeah, things happen. The Crow, I've never had the pleasure of watching that movie, but I would not be surprised if this was the, sort of atmosphere that that movie went for. That was indeed a rather dark film, if I recall correctly. So, yeah. As great of a progress as we're having, there's a brief matter that requires my attention, so unfortunately I have to call a very brief intermission. Not very long, I promise I'll be back very soon. Just, I gotta put you on waiting again. I'll be back as quick as I can. Haha, very funny. Yeah, sure, I died, we'll go with that. But now I'm back from the dead. So yeah, I'm a zombie bounty hunter now. Very interesting. So now that I'm back, the first thing I want to do before I start deciding on what to do for the chorus is, I want a somewhat smoother transition into the drums. Yeah, welcome back from hell, Yeah, I think the story I'll go with was, yeah, hell, sure, bat out of hell. I was talking with my demon buddy, who just happens to also know the demon who works with Carmine. Deep lore for you. Our connections run deeper than it might look. So at any rate, yeah, little drum, I think I want a little, cymbal count in, just to, ensure the, just for a smoother transition into the verse. So, to that effect, we're going to look in the modern vintage intro count-ins. I wouldn't speculate quite that much, but it's up to him to confirm or deny. At any rate, so yeah, intro count-ins. So let's listen to some of these. Let's see which one sounds the best for this context. So this is close to what I want, but no, you know what? We'll just put it in as is. Why not? No need to overthink things. If it'll sound good as it is, then just roll with it. Gotta make sure to mute these so that they don't actually play when I'm trying to listen to the song. So, yeah. Let's take a moment to listen to what we have so far. Just take a bit of a bird's eye view of the track. So yeah, I'd say that's good progress. That's roughly what I want. So, yep, perfect. So, that said, before we transition into the, before we start working on a proper, before we start working on the chorus, I want to transition into it a little bit more. So to that effect, I'm going to duplicate this track. So we have a heavy guitar to complement our clean. Which, as you might have expected, means I gotta change the signal chain a bit. Which means these two tracks gotta go. You don't want chorus or reverb on rhythm guitars. So, we're going to load up a personal preset of mine that I made myself. We're going to call it 555 with a cabinet. which, when dialed in, looks roughly like this. And these two mics make up a recording technique known as the Fredman technique, where you take these two microphones called Shure SM57s. You take one and you tilt it 45 degrees, and they both record the same speaker of the same cabinet. And they end up covering for each other's deficiencies. Weird phase things. A bit in the weeds, but the bottom line is, it sounds massive if you do it right. But that's how it's going to sound with Metal GTX. But we're not at that stage yet. We're going to go back to ample guitar to write out this part. Which unfortunately means this beautiful part is going to have to go bye-bye. Rest in peace. You served me well. Now, I want this part to only be what they call 1 measure long, but I think in this context it would be only 2. So, I'm thinking just a basic power chord sort of build up for this. Just going dun 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 dun. Makes enough sense, right? Not trying to blow anyone's minds here, I'm just trying to make a nice transitional part. And then we take all of these and imitate them up here. A fifth up. Which you can eyeball simply by going like this. So, a little guitar fretboard geography for you. Take the root note, and then play whatever's 2 frets above it on the next string over. This is the 5th, and that's how you build a power chord. Very simple. It's definitely simpler to explain than in music theory terms. And we do much the same thing with this note. So what we want is this note, which is a C sharp. And we pick an effect. We do not want a downstroke noise, we want okay, apparently that's not the feature I want. Yeah, you'll have to excuse me. I'm still pretty new at this particular plugin. Haven't been using it for long. So maybe it's under... No, not that one either. Perhaps if I just select everything... There we go. Sustain, no, we want palm mutes. So let's hear how this part sounds. Okay, so apparently these parts are just slightly too high. These 4 notes are slightly too high. That's more like it, but you may have also noticed that these notes go on for too long. So we're going to split everything up. There's probably a more efficient way to do this, but if there is, I do not know it. Because again, I haven't been using this program for that long, so I'm just gonna have to do it this way. So now let's hear how it sounds. So besides the BPM, it sounds fine to me. But I get the feeling if I drag it into the host... Oh, sweet. Good to know. Hopefully you'll find it a very fun experience. If you want, you can also ask me what programs to use if you want. Just DM me after the stream. So, let's hear how it sounds. And it sounds precisely how I want. Fantastic. So now, first let me rename these tracks real quick, just so I know what exactly I'm doing. What their intended function is. Which means I gotta get rid of this. And as you may have noticed, I may have to do some pretty serious editing to this as well. So again, gotta get rid of those, because those are string indicators, which are not a thing with this plugin. Okay, shift right click, jeez. Yeah, sometimes I have a hard time distinguishing between shift and control. Okay. This is not supposed to be a hammer-on, this is supposed to be a mute down in this case. So we drag it down. Sounds just about perfect, but I'm gonna do a little, I'm gonna alter the velocity a bit, just so there's a bit more build-up. So we're going to take these 4 notes, bring them down to 45, sounds good to me. Take these, I think I'll aim for 60-ish. 57, that's fine by me. These we can leave at 100. And we'll drag these down to 70. Works for me. Let's hear how it sounds. Perfect, exactly what I wanted. Now let's hear how it sounds in context. More or less perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Except that I'm thinking of changing this last section of notes to sustains, just to really ramp up the tension a bit. So, sus down. We'll see how it sounds. A little too early. We'll go for the next note over. Maybe we'll try here. Now that's more like it. Alright. So that's ever doing well. So, for this next part, we're going to follow a progression as opposed to simply, well, a more basic progression as opposed to this interesting slash chord. Because again, if you recall from my first songwriting stream, the general intent of choruses is you're supposed to make them a little more melodic, a little more harmonically rich. Do I always have to put my switches earlier? No, not always. It generally depends on context. Like, if you noticed in this particular part, I put my switch right where I wanted it to, right on the beat I wanted to alter, and it worked. Although I think that has more to do with the fact that this was copied over from a MIDI part that basically did that for me, but it's hard to tell sometimes. Anyways, progression I want to follow. I think this time we're going to start with the bass instead. No. Not even. We should go into Easy Drummer first, and come up with a drum part. And we're going to go back to the very part we were at. Let's see how some of the choruses sound. Not feeling that one. Perfect, that's exactly what I want. That said, I'm going to alter this final fill to give it something else. That's fine, I like that. So, we're going to go ahead and drag them into the song. And now, rather than work on the riff right away, I think I'm going to instead write the bass line first. I suppose we'll see how these sound first, but I'm probably going to wind up choosing one of the basic rhythms up here. But we'll experiment a bit first. Let's hear how these sound. Not feeling that one. That was at the wrong BPM. So yeah, I like how that sounds. But, again, we're going to have to alter the chord progression to make it fit what I want. And the chord progression I'm going for is a fairly common chord progression, especially in ballads. It has the rather questionable name. Keep in mind, I didn't come up with this. I do not endorse this name. That's just the most famous name for it. It is called the sensitive female chord progression. Its most famous use is probably Zombie by the Cranberries. It's generally, the reason it got that name is it's generally associated with female acts. Like, if you hear a female pop vocalist from the 90s or early 2000s, this is the chord progression that is probably used in their breakout hit. However, I just like how it sounds. It sounds sad, emotional. Just, again, sad, emotional. That's exactly what I'm going for with the song in general. So, the problem is I keep forgetting exactly which which order the notes are in. Okay, so in the context of major, it would be 6, 4, 1, 5, which is a bit of a problem because we're working in minor, so we'll have to alter it. So we'll just start with what I know, and that is these are both B flats. So they're both B flats. Yeah, forgive me. I should have prepared this just a little better. So okay, so I think I've had a solution. So we're going to A minor, F. So next would be A flat. And the next note would be D flat. And then finally J flat. So let's hear how this sounds. I'm just gonna double check again real quick. Whoops, wrong order. These are supposed to be the A flats, and these are supposed to be the J flats. Silly me. So now that I've fixed it up, let's hear how it sounds now. So yeah, as I expected, I like the progression, but this part's gotta go. Doesn't suit the feeling I want. So, we're going to go back to basic rhythms in 4/4. That's what I want. We're going to take this, drag it over here, get rid of these. Let's hear how this sounds. That's roughly what I want. Now, obviously, it doesn't sound too sad in this context exactly, but that's what the guitars are for. I'll probably end up filling out the harmony there. So, let's go ahead and drag this into the workstation once again. And we'll just see how they lock in. We'll see how the bass and drums lock in. So yeah, sounds foundational. The perfect companion to a fantastic guitar riff, which we will attempt to come up with now. So, we're going to go back into Ample. We're going to make this 4 measures long. Get rid of everything again. And you would think this would be a point where I break out the riff dice again, but unfortunately, it only sort of works for clean, arpeggiated stuff. Not really, it doesn't really come up with metal sort of riffs for you. You gotta actually use your brain a bit. We'll quantize into 16ths, because why not? Which I just realized means I have to extend the song part to be in actually eighths. So. Whoops. So, we're gonna go ahead and, perfect. So, for starters, we're going to just yeah, I'm just gonna have to mess around a bit, unfortunately. I'm very conscious about wasting your time on one hand, but on the other, obviously, this is a bit of a process to actually do. We'll just take these and copy and paste them. We'll hear how this measure sounds. A bit basic, but it works. So, we're gonna have to cross-reference the bass real quick. D flat is the next note we want. Wow. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a brain fart here, you'll have to excuse me. And it would help if I actually turned on the freaking bass. Alright, that actually helps quite a bit. So, this is the next chord we want to use. This note right here. F sharp. So now that we know what note we're actually going up to, let's copy and paste this part. Bring it over again. And we'll bring every note up. Let's listen to this measure and hear how it sounds. More or less perfect. So we'll bring this all the way. Oops. Oh dear. Please no. Stay with me, baby. Fuck my face. Oh, we've encountered a bit of a freeze. This is not good. For Well, that was an absolute fucking disaster. Wow. Yeah, these things just happen sometimes. No matter what. Yeah, system crash, and I didn't have the foresight to save that. Or rather, I couldn't have saved that without effectively giving you more information than you need. So, what are you apologizing for? You didn't do anything, dude. This was just technology being technology. So, yeah, I suppose that's a good thing about my own personal instrument. So, yeah. So, obviously, back home, they don't have digital audio workstations or any of this. We have our own instrument that I believe in your parlance would be called the everything instrument. It's physically it looks sort of like a hurdy-gurdy, but what it is, it's this real interesting instrument that can imitate every other instrument in our world. And if I brought it into this world, it would probably be able to imitate every instrument in this world as well. Because the way it works is it listens to an instrument being played, and from there, it can imitate that instrument. Now, obviously, I don't have it on me, but maybe if I ever get to change into my bounty hunting duds, you would get to see it firsthand. If I was using that, something like this would never have happened. It sucks, but it is what it is. So, it would be nice to actually be able to recreate that, but unfortunately, that would completely fuck up the flow of my day. I have a very busy day ahead of me. So, I guess I have no choice but to call it a day here. Kind of a shame that I'm going out with a whimper instead of a bang, but again, technology is what it is. I had zero control over that particular system crash. I think off camera I'll try to recreate it and we can continue work on it at another date. But for the immediate moment, I'm afraid, yeah, I think this is where I end my stream. Because frankly, I'm too embarrassed to go on. Yeah. I thank you for the reassurance, Carmine. Yeah. Again, very big shame that it had to end that way, but again, technology is what it is, and I am hardly the first person to have to end a stream over a program crash. Yes, again, thank you all for the reassurance. Like I said, I will definitely try to recreate it from memory, because as far as I'm concerned, that was just too great of a track to have it die that way. So, yeah. Hopefully, that is not the last you have heard of that song, because I was in a really good groove there. So, thank you all for coming. I apologize once again for the fucking DAW crash. And with that, I bid you all. I hope you all have a very, very good day. Thank you all for coming. I will try my best to recreate that from memory. And, yeah, just have a good day.